When you start looking for a wood-burning sauna stove, the first thing you notice is how every catalog photo shows a sleek, perfectly finished heater that promises endless steam and that deep, just right heat you've been dreaming about. The frustration hits when you finally get the unit home, and the first thing you discover is that the stone rack is too small for the rocks you already have, the firebox is larger than the corner of your sauna, or the smoke draw just won't cooperate with the existing ventilation. That gap between glossy listings and real-world experience is why I'm doing this deep dive on the Harvia Legend wood-burning sauna stove, so you can avoid the costly misstep of buying a heater that looks perfect on paper but turns out to be a daily hassle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the space you have. The Legend is marketed as a perfect for smaller saunas unit, and that claim holds up once you measure the footprint. At roughly the size of a standard kitchen range, it can snugly fit into a 4 by 6 foot sauna without crowding the benches. If you've been living in a cabin with a compact, bricklined room that's meant for 2 people, this stove slides into the corner and leaves enough room for a bench and a small bucket. On the flip side, if you own a larger, commercial-grade sauna or a home setup that's already close to 88 feet, the Legend will feel underpowered and you'll likely be running the fire longer to reach that deep, lingering heat. In that scenario, you'd be better off with a higher output model that can handle the volume without constant attention. Now, the core of any wood-burning heater is how it handles the fire and the stones. Harvia touts a cleaner burn that supposedly extends the stove's life and reduces creosote buildup. In practice, that cleaner burn comes from the cast iron construction and a well-engineered firebox that encourages a more complete combustion. I've spoken with a few sauna owners who say they notice less soot on their stone walls after a week of regular use compared to older, thinner metal heaters. That translates to less time scraping black deposits off the stone and more time enjoying the aroma of hot pine. The downside? The cleaner burn also means the fire needs a steady supply of seasoned wood. Wet or green wood will still produce smoke, and the Legend's relatively tight firebox can choke if the fuel isn't dry enough. So, if you live in a region where seasoned hardwood is a seasonal commodity, you'll need to stockpile or accept occasional smoke spikes. Stone capacity is another practical consideration. The Legend ships with a set of sauna rocks, and the stone rack can hold about 120 kilograms of stone, a decent amount for a small sauna. In everyday use, that volume lets you heat the room quickly and retain heat for longer periods after the fire goes out. I've heard from owners who like to preheat the stones for an hour, then enjoy a 30-minute afterglow where the temperature stays comfortably high without feeding the fire. That's a real perk if you're using the sauna for short sessions or want to conserve wood. However, if you've already invested in a larger batch of rocks from a previous heater, you might find the rack a bit cramped. You'll have to either remove some stones or stack them tightly, which can affect airflow around the rocks and slightly reduce efficiency. Installation is where the hidden trade-offs often surface. The Legend comes in a heavy, cast iron package that typically requires 2 people to lift and position. The manufacturer provides basic instructions, but you'll still need a qualified chimney professional to size the flue correctly, especially if your sauna's roof pitch is shallow. One common snag I've seen on forums is the need to add a heat shield behind the stove to protect the surrounding walls from the intense radiant heat. That's not a huge expense, but it adds a step that first-time buyers sometimes overlook, leading to premature paint peeling or even a small fire hazard. If you're comfortable with a bit of DIY and have a good chimney contractor on call, the installation process is manageable. If you'd rather avoid any construction headaches, a pre-wired electric heater might be a smoother route. So, who should actually buy the Harvia Legend? If you own a small, traditional sauna, say, a cabin-size box or a backyard retreat that fits 2 to 3 people, and you already have a reliable source of dry firewood, this stove is a solid match. Its cast iron durability means you won't be replacing it every few years, and the large stone capacity gives you the classic rock heat experience that many sauna enthusiasts chase. It also appeals to folks who love the ritual of building a fire, listening to the crackle, and controlling the heat by adding logs, a very tactile, meditative process that electric heaters can't replicate. Who should skip it? If your sauna space is larger than 66 feet, you'll likely find the heat output insufficient, and you'll end up feeding the fire more often than you'd